Okay, fam, I'm back in here and I'm gonna work on something that I'm just trying to figure out how to get everything set up the right way, right? I'm just doing this stream. I want to give us the best chance to share some information I think is really important. So I definitely want to get in here and make it right for you guys, right? So I'm kind of playing with the format a little bit. I had attempted this earlier, just didn't feel right to me. So I had to come back. I had to drop off out of it, and now it's back for me, right? So I'm back into it, and I'm trying to get my live, my notification. You got to monitor your notifications. If anyone comes into your chat, I want to see that too. So I'm trying to see if the tools that are here actually work, because I feel like I don't know why I'm not getting my on-screen notifications like, and I feel like I should, right? So help me out here. If you're in the chat, hit me up. I just want to see if these notifications are coming through, because the stream's live, but I'm not seeing any get back. So I'm just checking this out before we get started. I want to get a few people up in here, right? You guys can appreciate that, right? So I just want to get a few people up in here before I get started, just so as we go through this, it'll be good. And I'm just kind of checking to make sure that as these comments are coming in, you guys are able to, check these comments out and always be able to see these comments are coming in. Okay. Again, that's just me checking here. So just want to see if this thing, or how do people test stuff when you're setting up by yourself? Like, how do you be testing stuff out? Because this thing never brings in my chat. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're saying bring in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I'm bringing in the chat, but we're not getting anything. So I'm just gonna take this off, and I'm just gonna have to, I guess, do this manually, because you certainly aren't setting me up for a good time. Right, test the alert. How do you test the alert? Okay, so I guess is it only, it's only super chat, so it won't like, okay, so this is only gonna be like the super chat stuff. So it's not gonna just notify me when just a regular chat, which is what I want. Like, I want both, but obviously, I'm trying to make sure that I'm set up to, do a good job with you guys. So I don't necessarily want, I don't know if I want this. Is this the ticker? Oh, it's not the ticker. Okay, there we go. I want that thing out of here, right? Just so, when it comes in, it's there. But I'm going to try to set up these other, sections, right? So I can, still didn't go away. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of this thing for now, because you're not working. So I'm going to monitor the page myself anyway. That's what we got right now. So what I wanted to do was go through this list of the gods in the Americas, right? This seems like a topic that has a lot of weight to it. Everyone wants to kind of discuss it, or at least the people in this group. So we got the complete list. I think I stopped off right about here. So I'm going to try to pick this up where I left off last time and kind of like support it with some talk and some images. So let's go back a little bit here and we'll get up to speed here. Okay.
Pantheon. Okay. Aztec mythology. Affiliation. Aztec mythology. Affiliation. Creator gods. Role. God of fate, night, sorcery, and rulership. Power type. Illusion casting. Shadow manipulation. Reality distortion. Status. Immortal deity. Notes. One of the most powerful Aztec gods and a constant rival of Quetzalcoatl. Huitzilopochtli. Pronunciation. Huitzilopochtli. Alias. Hummingbird of the South. Pantheon.
Now, we talked about this deity, right? The war god, the hummingbird of the South.
Aztec mythology. Affiliation. War gods. Role. Patron god of the Aztec Empire and solar warrior deity. Power type. Solar fire. Divine combat. War empowerment. Status. immortal deity. Notes. Led the Mexica people to the location that became Tenochtitlan. Tlaloc. Pronunciation. Tlahloc. Alias. Lord of Rain. Pantheon.
Okay, let me get into Tylock. I can bring this one up for you. This is what I really wanted to do, was kind of reinforce what we were talking about with some visual imagery. I think this is right where we stopped off last time. And again, this is a pretty massive list we want to go through here. So I'm going to do this over a few days. But let's look at Tylock and let's bring up the images. And this is the deity that's known for this face, right? Clearly this face. And this is 100% a rain deity, which matters, which is paramount. This is an immortal right here. And we can kind of go back and figure out some more information on this deity here. But Tlaloc is pretty much simple. I was wondering if Tlaloc is in any modern gaming or movies. So let's see here. So that's his Tlaloc, one of the most important figures. Yeah, this guy's actually, he's in a lot of stuff right now. Smite's one of those games where if you're into mythology, Smite is a really good game to go back. Oh, it's also in Civilization 6. Yeah, I played Civilization. I think I'm on Civilization 7. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay. In Civ 6. This doesn't look like any of the images we would see. We'll probably find one better for Smite. He's definitely in there, but in Smite, and again, if you love games, like if you're into games and you're into gods in any way, this is an ideal game because you'll get to fight with these guys a lot. So Tlaloc we see in everything, right? In the mythologies, in the stories, in the video games, Age of Empires, Civilization 6 and 7. In terms of movies, he has not been featured, but you can see this imagery in Apocalypto, right? So if you watch the film Apocalypto, you'll get to see a lot of it. So he doesn't appear in a lot of modern games, but he did make it to the Japanese-based Shin Megami Tensei. So not a lot in the West, but for some reason over in Japan, they're all over this guy, right? So another deity that kind of keeps on living. So I'm going to roll on to the next one here and see what we got. Now, the next one here is the Jade Skirt. This is a deity known as the Jade Skirt. One of my favorite because it's a water deity. So I'm going to bring up this imagery here. And let's get right into it, right? This is the one that we started with. And just another kind of Yemoja kind of figure. But let's see what the tick of the tape is on this one here.
Aztec mythology. Affiliation. Storm gods. Role. God of rain, storms, and agriculture. Power type. Weather manipulation. Lightning control. Flood generation. Status. Immortal deity. Notes. One of the most widely worshipped gods due to agriculture's dependence on rain. Calciutlicu. Pronunciation.
Yes.
Chalchiotlique alias. Jade Skirt.
The
Pantheon.
Jade Skirt.
Aztec mythology. Affiliation. Water deities. Role. Goddess of lakes, rivers, and flowing water.
So this kind of reminds me of like the Yemoja type of deity because of her role. Let me see if I can find any more information on Calciutlique, right? One of the gods associated with water. Let's see if she's in modern times as well. Does this deity have any modern representations? Are we looking at movies, video games, and how long has this deity been around? So again, with the water deities, like any of the water deities, she's a goddess of lakes. This is rivers, and this is flowing water. So this is always going to be important. And to me, even visually, like when I look at her and I look at Yemoja, I'm just going to say, right, let's just take a look at how these are represented. Her and Yemoja. And Yemoja is, again, West African, but damn, I mean, these are some pretty similar images, right? When we look at what the last ones of her were, right? These are some pretty similar images. But again, they're river goddesses. rivers being, functional to just the survival of the people. Now she's been around since early times. So we're probably saying, we're in 2026 right now, 2000. So this deity is almost 3,000 years old, or right about 3,600 years that we've been talking about this goddess. Now, her peak was obviously during the Aztec. The Aztec peak worship was about from 1300 to about the 1500s. So she coincides right about the time that colonization really started. Because Columbus makes his way. It's like 1400th century. So right about the middle time when she's really at her peak. This is when her representation really is at her strongest. So she's been represented in this format for over 2,000 years now. She's heavy in the game. Let me see if I can find this Shin Megami Persona universe. Let me see if I can find this and see if we can find an image, and this will tell us what this looks like. I haven't played this game myself, but yeah, I mean, you can get a look at it. I could see her being a part of this. Let me see if they show a representation of her in the game. That'll be interesting to see how they kind of rep her. Let's see. You know what? Yeah, it doesn't look like they got a good image of her. This is a really good image of her as well, though. I don't know if they have any images of her repping in this game, but definitely a deity. Like, she's associated with water and ice alignment in the game. She's a high-level spirit deity. And again, like Age of Empires is another game where you'll probably find some good representations of her. So if you're into the culture, then this would be the a good way of like connecting with her, right? Or even if you're showing children or something like that. Yeah, I don't see any other images, although this seems like some of the gameplay. So this is kind of what the gameplay looks like. And I may check it out. Like I think I've got at least a version of this game. I don't know how far back it goes, but she's always been a part of the belief system. So we're saying 2,000 years ago, and you're still being repped in video games right now. Man, I'd say that's a pretty solid track record for any deity, right? Like absolutely any deity at all. So I'm gonna move on to the next one here, and this is Mictlantecuhtli, the one I always like end up talking about. Like Mictlantecuhtli obviously is the death god, and so we're used to this bone image here. Some great mythology. Like I found some really cool mythology. In fact, I just did a myth story with him and Quetzalcoatl, and this deity's still around. Like, let's see if he's any modern games. I know this guy's going to be in some modern games. Is this deity listed in any modern games? Let's see. What's that? Any modern games or movies? What's the most recent reference to this deity here? So in this story, where Quetzalcoatl has to go to the underworld and make us completely out of bones, this is the deity that he goes to see. And he's not, I'm going to tell you, this guy's not necessarily a caring deity. This is the god of death. And in this system, it's more of just a process, right? It's not as personal. You're not necessarily being punished for anything. This is the Aztec Lord of the Dead. And his most prominent, he's mainly seen as a villain. Oh, okay, he does still blood sacrifices to other deities. So this is what he's known for. His action actually threatened the balance between man and the human world. Now he is featured, that is right. Yeah, so he's in Constantine City of Demons, which came out in 2018. Let me see if I can find that. I do remember watching this. Yeah, actually, I was just watching this thing the other day, and it's actually a pretty dope movie, The City of Demons, and he's in this, and I didn't realize when I was sitting there watching it, this guy's also been in a lot of other myth-inspired video games, the same Japanese game, this kind of the same games, also El Muerto, which is a superhero film, in 2007. This I'm not familiar with, guys. Let's take a look at this, and let's see who's repping Mictlantecuhtli. He has a wife as well, who is the next one on the list. So this is the film here, the dead one. Man, this looks like in here. What is this about? Let's see if I can figure out what this is all about, right? Like, what do you have to say about it? I just want to hear what it breaks out about this movie. And it's saying, okay, so this is an independent superhero film based on Javier Hernandez comic book El Muerto, the Aztec Zombie, starring Wilmer Valderrama, like Wilmer from that 70s show, right? So now I already got a problem with it. I don't know how good it can be with Wilmer in there, but I'm gonna let it ride. So this does come out. This is a way back. This is 19 years ago. It won a best feature film in 2008. So this is different from anything else. Just being a purely purely independent film. But yeah, that's Wilmer right there. You can see that's Wilmer right there playing this character. And I don't want to boo-hoo on him, but I just can't imagine that it's that great if Wilmer was your star guy. But maybe. I always support checking out anything with the gods in here. That keeps mythological stories relevant. So I'm definitely going to say let's check it out, although I can't tell you where you would go find that out. Okay, now there's also the Lady of Death, which is Mukatlisawatl. So her name is slightly different, and it's beyond me at this point, but let's see if I can find some images of her. She's also featured in the mythology tale of Quetzalcoatl. So when he goes into the underworld, both the king of the underworld and the goddess of the underworld are both there. So he has to deal with both of them, and she's right in line. Like, obviously she's got a little bit more of that, the Lady of the Dead. So obviously you see when the makeup is styling for like the celebrations, like the Earth celebrations. So I would think she's definitely central to this. And she kind of fits in that same mindset of modern times, because those two have kind of been lock in step. You don't typically talk about one of these deities without talking about the other. She, of course, is soul guardianship. She is death. She's death magic, I should say, not simply magic. She is associated with all the festivals that are honoring the dead, that influenced by the Dia de Muertos. So those were all. This celebration was influenced by the original celebrations around her. So around their death celebration is where all this stuff comes from. So a great way to kind of get into the mythology is kind of knowing some of these primary figures. So I want to get a little bit deeper and kind of see where we can go. Now, Xochitl, this is another one, the dog-headed deity, and let's kind of line this one up here. I'm gonna get some images up before we go and start hearing a little bit about this character. This is the dog-headed deity, and yeah, right off the bat, that's exactly what we get. A lot of good representations. Let's see what the profile I got up here says. Again, I'm working from some info I put together for you guys. It makes it easier to kind of go back and reference everything I'm talking about right here.
Power type: water manipulation, fertility blessing, flood control. Status: immortal deity. Notes: associated with childbirth and protection of travelers over water. Mictlantecuhtli. Pronunciation: Mictlantecuhtli alias Lord of Mictlan. Pantheon: Aztec mythology. Affiliation: Underworld gods. Role: ruler of the Aztec underworld. Power type: Death Dominion. Underworld authority. Necromantic command. Status: immortal deity. Notes: often depicted as a skeletal god ruling the land of the dead. Mictlantecuhtli. Pronunciation: Mictlantecuhtli alias Lady of the Dead. Pantheon: Aztec mythology. Affiliation: Underworld gods. Role: Queen of Mictlan and guardian of the bones of the dead. Power type: soul guardianship. Death magic.
Death magic, which is very specific. This is not regular magic, right?
Status: immortal deity. Notes: associated with the festivals honoring the dead that later influenced Dia de los Muertos.
So this is where I stopped at, right? I was on Shotlo. And let's pull up my dog-headed deity again. So now we can get back to this one, right? And this is our dog-headed deity. So let's kind of roll it here, okay?
Xolotl. Pronunciation.
Xolotl. Okay.
Sholotl alias. The dog-headed god. Pantheon. Aztec mythology.
This is firmly Aztec. Let me move myself up here because I want to see that. I want to get that whole text in there. All right. So I have to cut my head off a little bit. That's fine, right?
Affiliation. Underworld guides. Role. Psychopomp guiding souls through the underworld. Power type. Lightning control. Soul guidance. Shape-shifting. Status. Immortal deity. Notes. Twin brother of Quetzalcoatl and guide of the sun through the underworld.
That's interesting that he is... Okay, so this is a twin of Quetzalcoatl, right? This is where he serves his role of being the underground guide, right? And now we get to this lesser deity, our Lord of the Flayed One. This has got the best name right here, right? So this is Sheep Totec. Sheep Totec is the name that we have coming up. Sheep Totec. Let me find the deity and what this deity actually looks like. And this is the Lord of the Flayed One. I'm expecting something off the hook here and not to be disappointed. A very angry looking deity. Yeah, this is the image here. Wow, okay. Lord of the Flayed Ones. Let's find some more information on this one while we kind of play this one out, right?
Zype Totec. Pronunciation. Shee pair Toh Tech. Alias. Our Lord the Flayed One. Pantheon. Aztec mythology. Affiliation. Agricultural gods.
What?
Role. God of renewal, rebirth, and vegetation cycle.
I'm totally blown off with this flayed skin guy being associated with renewal. Like, I think that's a front. I think that is 100% a lie. I think this guy just put this down on his resume to say that he could do this stuff. I cannot believe that this deity I'm seeing walking around with a whole like pile of loose skin is somehow you're like a good guy, right? You're all about all the stuff that we need. But it says so right here in the profile. God of renewal, rebirth, and vegetation cycles, life renewal. Represents a shedding of old skin. Wow, okay, that just blew my mind right there. This is why this guy's got the skin.
Cycles. Power type. Life renewal. Agricultural fertility. Transformation. Status. Immortal right? Deity.
Transformation.
Notes. Represents the shedding of old skin as a symbol of seasonal renewal.
Okay, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard, right? I'm serious, right? I had never heard that, right? Zyptotec, right? Zyptotec. So let me look up Zyptotec and let's see what we can find here. Because I've never heard of a deity, shedding skin. Okay, this deity is said to represent a renewal cycle with the shedding of the skin. I thought this was going to be a whole lot worse, but is this common, or is this the first time we're seeing that type of representation associated with renewal? Because I would love to see if there's any other deities who do anything that's like that at all, and I've not heard of it. Usually, if you see a god walking around with some skin like that, it's a problem. Usually the next thing that come out of your mouth is uh-oh. So again, this is the flayed skin. It represents seeds shedding their outer shell, which I never would have got that, which is why we do these myth labs right now, right? I never would have got that. This is plants emerging from the earth. This symbolism of the skin. This is a renewal of crops in springtime. So just like a seed must break the surface for it to emerge, the old skin has to be removed before new life begins. I'm telling you, this is the first time I've seen this, and I had to look for other symbolism, right? So we see this same type of thing. Quetzalcoatl does this, and Damballa does the same thing. Old skin dies. Okay, now if we go to other belief systems, now immediately I look and I'm like, okay, Who else do I know who's all about renewal and revival? Well, I think about Osiris, right, or Asar, who literally died for this to go down. And in that scenario, yeah, he dies. It didn't seem as gruesome, but I guess if you are not him, he was also associated with agricultural rebirth. And in this, he's killed and dismembered. He's reborn as the Lord in the afterlife. So he's associated with grain sprouting from the earth. So this sounds like this is more tradition. And then we'd even go Dionysus, who is the Greek, who's also associated with destruction that would bring about renewal. So hey, color me surprised. That's why we're sitting here. I'm learning as much as I'm spreading this information with you guys. But Zeip Totek is all about renewals. I thought this was going to be something really, really bad, and that's what I was looking at. There's actually agricultural festivals that are dedicated to this warrior. Warriors fought ritual combat. The sacrificial victims were flayed. Again, so this flaying stuff does go down. Priests wore the skins for about 20 days. This period represented the early springtime planting season, and after skin decayed and fell away, it symbolized this new growth. So this is 100% the truth. This is not just an Aztec god. This is also a Zapotec civilization and the Mixtec civilization, who also represent this deity. So this concept for this deity here, we're talking over 1,500 years. That's a really, really long time. When you're like, say my name, and they're still saying your name 1,500 years later. So I'm really, really feeling this representation of the deity, the whole idea of the flaying the flesh off the skin. That is not even unique to this deity here at all, right? So we can actually see that, right? So I'm going to get to the Lord of Fire right now, which is Xi'otecutli. Let's see how close I am to getting this right. Let's pull up the image here, and this is a Lord of Fire, so we should see a very different image. Thank God for Google. This is like the brooding god is what I see here. So let's find out a little bit more about right Xi'otecutli. Let's see if I get this right. Okay,
Renewal. Xi'otecutli. Pronunciation.
Xi'otecutli. That's what they're going with on this one. Xi'otecutli.
Gods and spirits of the American.
Oh, no, you're not starting all over again. Okay, we started all over again. That's not what we want.
Role. Flood generation. Command. Notes. Represents the shedding of old skin as a symbol of seasonal renewal. Xi'otecutli. Pronunciation. Xi'otecutli alias. Lord of Fire. Pantheon. Aztec mythology. Affiliation. Fire deities. Role. God of fire, heat, and time. Power type. Fire manipulation. Thermal energy. Temporal symbolism. Status. Immortal deity. Notes. One of the oldest and most fundamental deities in Aztec cosmology. Tlazalteotl.
Tlazaltecutli, right? Okay, I'm gonna get this word. Tlazaltecutli. Let's see if we can get the pronunciation on this name right. This one's extremely difficult, and so far with the pronunciations, I think we can get a whole lot closer to what's actually correct here and get these pronounced. But this is a goddess. She is associated with, this is the devourer of filth. So let's hear about the devourer of filth.
Pronunciation. Teotl. Fundamental deities in Aztec cosmology. Tlazalteotl.
Tlazalteotl. Okay, let's try it here again.
Alias. Fundamental deities in Aztec cosmology.
Here it comes.
Tlazalteotl.
Right, this is a tough one.
Fundamental deities in Aztec cosmology. Tlazalteotl.
Okay, so this is the deity.
Pronunciation. Tlazalteotl alias. Devourer of filth. Pantheon. Aztec mythology. Affiliation.
This has got to be like a purification.
Purification deities.
Yeah.
Role. Goddess of purification, confession, and sexuality. Power type. Sin absorption.
Sin eater. Essentially, like we've heard of sin eaters previously. Obviously, this is a more modern representation. This is kind of what she looked old school, but still nicely formed. Nice looking deity here, right? She is said to be absorb sin, She's believed to consume and purify humans' sins during confessional. So this is kind of a confessional deity here, which we're used to ideas of confessions in multiple belief systems. So this is a real good deity right here for us to know about, because this is where you get up all that trouble that you had on. Let me see if I can find any other information. I like to see is she still has this deity processed into modern times? Has she been presented in any movies or any video games or anything like that? Is she still part of active conversations? Because this is a deity, man. Like, honestly, man, I don't know if I've run into a lot of sin eaters. I know that there's one. It seems like there's one in Norse mythology who kind of eats the sin for everyone. But there's not a lot of sin eaters. We don't find a lot. Now, she's, obviously associated with other things. When they say she's the eater of filth, what she's talking about is you. She's talking about all the grimy stuff that you guys have done that she has to make up for. So that's where she gets this role. This deity, again, you're talking 1,200 years. We've been talking to her for at least 1,000 years. Like early from like 1,300 to roughly now. She's been associated with midwives, healers, confession rituals. She's less mentioned than like the Quetzalcoatls and the Mitlantecutlis, right? We know this. She did make it into the RPG game, so that's kind of a part of her. She's also in some comic books. She'll appear in mythological encyclopedias. And so she's still kind of mainly in the academic part of it, right? We haven't really embraced her as much in the comic book roles or in comic books and movies as some of these other deities. And she's kind of similar to Aphrodite, Nana, Ishtar, because they're all kind of about sin and temptation. She burns away these sins and temptation in the way that she does. So she's probably not seen in more modern pop because she's sex and sin and purification all tied together. So as far as how she's talked about, Mesoamerican mythology is still vastly underrated when we're talking about comparing them to Greek and Norse mythology. They still dominate in entertainment, but we're still talking about her right now. Me and the two people that are in the chat, like, look, let's go chat. But this is another deity that obviously, if we want to talk about and bring him on, hey, Kat, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I'm gonna keep working on that Gods of America. Like, I really gotta fine tune it to getting it, getting all the characters in here, with all the names and all that stuff. It just takes a lot of time. So I'm gonna dedicate to it. Thank you. And also, Angela, welcome. Thank you for stopping in. So this is just the first part. I'm gonna go for a little bit longer because I'm already kind of getting a little hungry. But let's dig into these gods a little bit more because I'm starting to have some fun. And the next one is the Old Coyote. And let's see how we can get some pronunciation. I live in the Americas, so it's important. Like, why do I know more about Greek deities than I know about the gods that were on this land throughout the Americas, right? And we'll get into this image here. Okay, so let's fire it back up here. Let's fire the whole engine back up. Okay.
Spiritual cleansing. Status. Immortal deity. Notes. Believed to consume and purify human sins during confession rituals. Huehuecoyotl.
Huehuecoyotl. Huehuecoyotl. Huehuecoyotl, right? So this is one of the names that, hey, we gotta have to struggle through, but it's absolutely worth it. Let's figure out what we learn about this deity here.
Pronunciation. Huehuecoyohtl alias. Old Coyote. Pantheon. Aztec mythology. Affiliation. Trickster spirits. Role. Trickster god of music, dance, and mischief.
So right off the bat with trickster gods, obviously we've got a long line. I think of Anansi in like Yoruba belief systems. I think of Loki, but I also perceive Loki as being pretty dangerous. So I don't know if Old Coyote, translates as well. He's got some obviously chaos influence in there. We do know that. So let's finish up the profile and see where it leads us to.
Power type. Illusions. Chaos influence. Trickster magic. Status. Immortal deity. Notes. Known for playful but sometimes dangerous pranks among...
See, that's kind of where Loki is. Where like it's funny until it's not funny anymore. It's funny until you trigger Ragnarok. So that's always interesting with with the tricksters, man. Like I don't necessarily like. There's not one single of my favorite gods that is the trickster god, right? Just for that reason, you always have to give them the side eye.
Gods and humans. Sentiotl.
Sentiotl. All right. I know this name. I believe the association is with corn. And let's see how correct I am on this one. Sentiotl. Let's find this image here first. Sentiotl. Okay. I don't see a lot of modern images. I do see some corn. Let's rip it and see what it comes up with.
Pronunciation. Sentiotl alias.
I don't know why.
Maize Lord.
This is the maize lord
Pantheon.
corn.
Aztec mythology. Affiliation. Agricultural deities. Role.
A lot of agricultural deities here, right? Obviously, getting some food is extremely important. None of us would be here if someone didn't, keep these gods happy, right?
God of maize and sustenance.
Maize, or you would call it corn, right? I remember Beavis and Butthead saying that. Maize, corn.
Power type. Plant growth. Harvest blessing. Agricultural fertility.
That's very important. This agriculture, like again, just last week I was talking about Baal. Baal in the Ugaritic culture, again, just a rain god, right? We talked about like Oya in Africa. So like the proliferation of the rain gods, Zeus has a role where Zeus is also a rain god. So that's where you get all the clout, man. If you're telling your kids to be something where they're going to be beloved, stop pushing them towards the NBA. Make them a rain deity. Make them a deity, man, that fights off drought and overall keeping us from being ashy, keeping stuff from being dry out, making your mouth water. So that's where this deity is here. Very powerful. Let's see. I'm going to ask I've never seen this deity in anything else. I'm curious if this is a deity who's crossed over into modern times. I don't think so. We're going to test it here, right? Let's see. Has this deity crossed over into more modern representation? So will we see this deity in any type of movies or video games or anything like that? I'm betting that it's not. Let's see. The maize god of the Aztecs. So, oh man, this deity goes all the way back. Like, this is a profound deity. Now we're going all the way back to the Olmecs. And honestly, I think that's the first time we've mentioned Olmecs, period, in any discussion about the Americas. And I'm just talking about the Americas, man, from top to bottom. I'm not going to associate them with any particular group of people. I'm going to talk about all of them that were in the Americas. So this is a good one, man. This deity goes back to the Olmecs. So we're seeing, a little older period, like at the start, the Olmecs again, we're talking about like the founding of civilization. So whenever I talk about mythology, there's always the metaphysical side that goes along with it. But then there's just a historical side. And this is kind of what gets to be more important. So this maize or this corn deity has been associated with the earliest times. If we look at, now this deity, because of what it is, because of, come on, man, this is corn. I know it's important, but people don't get excited about like the corn god. If I say the maize god, maybe you get a little more, oomph out of the maize god, right? He's amazing, right? Maize man, or whatever you would call him. But the corn god just doesn't translate as well. And that's the thing, like your marketing department went wrong with that. Calling yourself the corn god, I can see all kind of bad nicknames, Corny or Cornelius or, whatever it is, right? It's not going to be good. So you probably didn't choose that. So this deity has not transpired into modern myths in the way like Quetzalcoatl or Mictlantecuhtli. You see, I've got Mictlantecuhtli down, right? So I'm going to say his name as often as possible. Makes me feel smart about myself. But you can see that like the corn god, you're not going to get the same amount of love. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the call sheet and I'm like, corn god. I wouldn't even wrote that down. I wouldn't even write down that there was a corn god who was out there. In fact, corn doesn't even mean corn anymore. Like now, if I say you're the corn god, it has a whole different meaning and you don't want that meaning, right? Trust me, knowing who you are and your commitment to nutrition and good corn, I feel very confident that you don't want the meaning of what corn means now. If I tell someone you're the corn god right now, they're going to ask if you need to get some help, if you're in therapy, which I'm sure you're not, because you're over here just trying to go corn. You're not thinking about how society has moved past you in this regard. So this is still a very important symbol. This is the divine entity embodying corn, not anything else, right? So we don't have to go any further than that. Now, we've done about 40 minutes of kind of breaking this new style. And yeah, right. Manny made the successful humanity out of corn. Yeah, thank you. We learned how important corn or maize is to our fundamental survival by our earliest deities here, right? So thank you very much, Kat, who's always in and making it better around here. So I'm at my 40 minutes. I said I was going to cut it about there. I'm going to come back and I'm going to pick up. Maybe I'll do another session today because, guys, I'm not going to be joking with you guys. We have 144 of these deities that we got to go through before we pass this section of the class. So I'm here driving the class. I'm learning right along with you guys. The chat's open. You guys always jump in and we're going to have some fun. Oh, Kat. Yes, Kat, I wanted to say this while you're here. So I got like a free gift for you guys. I'm just figuring out how to get it over to you. So it's an ebook. I'm going to put all these deities and I'm going to compile them in a very simple ebook. So if you want it, I'll figure out a way to get it to you. You'll be my first one. So give me like a couple of days because I put this whole thing together and I'm like, what am I going to do with it? I want to share it. So let's make it like a downloadable ebook for who's ever interested. I may go back and put some artwork in it later, but I'll be back on and we'll chop it up a little more. As always, much love to you guys. That's why I'm here, right? I am your mythological, right, queries. Yeah, absolutely, Kat. I think you're going to like this book. It's like I said, it's simple. It'll be my first one, but I can put together ebooks, by the way. So I'll be back later to kind of chop it up. You guys stay healthy. I'm going to grab some lunch. Kat's going to represent like this is British time now. If I were there, I would get some tea, right? You know what? I am going to have some tea. I'm going to have some tea with my lunch and we're going to chill this out and I'll work this out.